Hi, this video covers creating an axonometric drawing, as you can see here on screen, and this is it's a 3D representation. So this one's not going into too much detail, so we're just doing the basic massing, create the spaces and the simple shapes of doorways. There's a fair bit of drawing in this, to do a fully finished version would take a good hour or two. I can call up the finished version if you just bear with me. Okay, so here you can see two versions, one taken to about 2.4 meters height, and the other one is taken up to roof height. So you can see that this one's like the lid off version. And this is carrying a bit more detail than we're going to draw in our one. You can see I've created the window frames and indicated stuff that's visible through the windows, and a bit more detail on the landscaping as well. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just bring back on the layers I've got switched off, and then I'll take it from the start. So I'm just going to thaw a couple more layers here, and I'm just going to bin this. Ouch, always painful to delete stuff. So I'm going to take away this as well. Okay, so starting off here, by what I've done is just drawn a couple of circles on each of the trees, because we haven't got 3D models of the trees to use, so we're just going to use a circle. I'm also going to put a rectangle around this shape here. So I've set up a new layer called Axonometric, and I'm just going to draw everything with the same layer. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle over this as well. That should be sufficient. Okay, so what we'll do is copy all of this. Okay, because I don't want to wreck my original plan. Okay, I'm just going to copy it to the side. Okay, I don't need these trees now, they can go. They'll just cause a bit of visual chaos. There's a polyline here that we can delete as well, and what I'm going to do here is explode these hatch patterns, because they could be used later on. You might want to trim and tidy up, so you could show a floor pattern as well. So what we'll do is explode all these hatch patterns. So X, enter, pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and enter. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate this through 45 degrees. So I'm going to rotate the whole plan. I'll use this as the base point and rotate 45. Okay, and then I'm going to turn that into a block. So Shift Control C. Okay, I'll select the corner here, grab everything and enter. Excuse me again. And then we'll leave that as it is, because that's all individual bits, and we'll do Shift Control V to paste back in. And this can go anywhere, it doesn't have to line up with anything, so we'll just drop it here. Okay, and I'm going to put this onto its own holding layer. So I've got a layer created here called Plans at 45, and all this is going to have on it is the whole block plan, so I can freeze that whenever I need to. So I'm just going to click that, change it onto Plans at 45. Okay, so generally an axonometric is done at 45 degrees. I did these ones at 30 degrees, just to get a bit, it gives it a little bit more graphic feel. Okay, 45 degrees is a bit stark, but it's also very strong geometrically as well. So what you do now is copy this upwards by the heights that you require. So we're going to need a height for the tops of openings, which is consistent on this building. It's 2.1 meters, that's 2100, and then we'll say that we're going to go up as high as 2.4 meters, so 2400, and that'll be the the slice level for the drawing. Okay, so the command is copy, pick the block, enter. Base point can be anywhere. We need ortho on, so just click a base point, drag upwards, and we'll do 2100. So this is the height of the doorways, and then another one at 2400. So this is the top of the walls. So it makes it all pretty tricky to see what's going on, especially with all this landscaping grids. So we can still get control of the landscape layer. So if I freeze the groundscape, gets a little bit better to understand, but it is going to be visually quite taxing. So let's get started in this area here. So Axonometric is our current layer. Okay, on object snaps, I've got endpoint, midpoint, center, intersection, and perpendicular. So I've got 5 object snaps ready to use. Okay, and ortho will generally be on. Not many times we need to turn that off. Okay, so let's run around the very top of the kind of perimeter wall first. So we just want a line, and we're just tracing over the top. Now, if you want to switch ortho off, you can, so you can see where you're going. Okay, so it's got to watch for which line you're on. So here we've got 4 lines that are parallel, so I want to be on the second one. Okay, so take it to here. Bit easier here to find the corner. Similarly here, and then come back to where we started. Okay, now let's run round on the inside now as well. So this would be continuous for this building. Okay, there's no breaks in this. Okay, and back to here. Okay, so what we'll do is just kind of work with this box initially, just so you get the idea. Okay, so we'll come down to the corner and then along the edge here. Okay, back up to the corner. Okay, let's go up the corner here. So if I freeze the plans at 45 layer, you should get the impression, the 3D impression should start to be there already. So freeze plans at 45. Okay, to get the idea. So now what we would do is try and put in the inside of the wall. So back to plans at 45, switch that on. So it would be this line that we're running along now. Okay, so line from intersection, okay, to corner, take that upwards, do the same along this wall. So some lines are kind of sacrificial, we'll put them in and then we'll tidy them up. So here I could go perpendicular, or tapping my tab key I could get intersection, or if you're not too sure you could go to this corner and then use the grips to take that back perpendicular or intersection. Okay, let's freeze plans at 45 again just to see what it looks like. And so do you get the idea? We're getting that 3D impression. Let's find the big lump in the middle. Let's put that in next. Okay, back to plans at 45. So this is a little bit trickier to try and pick out the lines here. Okay, so we'll be going from this corner right the way across the plan. Okay, so go from here, and we want to be on the second line. Okay, so we'll drag that right the way across. So here, that's line number 1, line number 2. Okay, do the same at the other side. We could go from this side instead, from intersection right the way back up to here. Okay, now the walls on the inside of the building, on the inside here, are a little bit thicker, so let's go around this shape now. Okay, and then back up to here. Okay, let's freeze flange at 45 and see what that looks like. Okay, so you see we've got this is the top of the walls, but we can do a bit of trimming here. We need to trim this bit of line away. So trim, take that bit away, and at this side we're taking this bit away. Okay, now you could draw some of this without tracing, so what we could do here is draw a line down. If you hold shift you can get ortho, enter, and if we copied that line from end point to intersection, it would be exactly where it needs to be. So copy, pick that, enter, base point, intersection. Okay, these two objects could be copied from here to here. So copy, pick these two, enter, from there to there. Okay, now because this wall's thicker here, that's why that junction is a little bit further down. So copy from endpoint to there. Okay, now it's a case of tidying up. So trim, do lots of trims now. Okay, we trim away this, and then the final one. So do you see it's like 3 cells now? Bit of trimming down here. Now let's put the plans back on and just check the positions of these lines. So these should be sitting on top of the purple lines, the pinky purple lines of the plans. So plans at 45, and they are. See, it's sitting right on that line. So, you know, depending on which way you're more comfortable, you could do all tracing, or you could, you know, start kind of building it up yourself. Okay, let's do an opening now. Let's sketch in an opening here. So I'll trace this. So I'm going to go from corner of the wall to here, across the opening, and then back down. Okay, but what we do want to do here is indicate the thickness of the wall in this position. Okay, so we need another line, and then this is going to go up to this position. Okay, but then using the grips we can drag it back to the intersection. Okay, if this was open, if there wasn't a door in there, we'd see the edge of the wall there as well. So let's do that. Let's extend that through to the intersection. Okay, but this needs trimmed out, but there's a lot of lines here now, so you would probably want to switch off the plans at 45 so that you could trim that out a bit easier. So we'll trim, and we'll take that away. Okay, so you see it's getting that 3D feel to it. So trim again, and we can lose the edge of the floor at that point, so we can see the kind of space flowing in and into the courtyard. Okay, put the plans at 45 back on. Okay, so wherever possible, copy objects. So copy these 3, 1, 2, 3. You could take this line as well, 4, enter, and we can go from this part of the door opening to the next one along. We can go to here, because it's exactly the same setup. What we do need is a vertical line on the other side of the door, so we can copy this one. We pick it, enter, base point, destination. Okay, a little bit of tidying up here. We can, using the grips, bring this back, and that's our next doorway. Okay, let's look at something a bit trickier now. Now, these screen walls inside the courtyards, they go up to this level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is draw a line. I've got to be careful where I pick from. So I've got a lot of lines happening here, so it's from here perpendicular. Okay, then along and round, and I could close that shape, probably easier than trying to go back into that junction, so close that. Okay, another line, so I'm just going to go down to here on these two. Okay, we'll see the edge of that, so if I go along here, and I'm going to let that go across to the window. I'll go to the window frame, and then we're going to go upwards to the window frame. Okay, let's get the plans out of the way so we can see what that bit looks like. And so it's kind of coming together. Okay, we wouldn't see this bit of line because this wall would obscure it, so we can trim away there and there. We're not going to see the ends of these, so we'll trim those off. And there we go, so that's where the car gets parked, and then you walk around the wall there and come over to the main entrance in here. So this looks a wee bit strange at the moment, we need to deal with that. Okay, plans of 45 back on. Okay, so we'll form this opening now. So a line from here to here, across to here. We can then use that to shorten this, because the window opening kind of goes under the wall a bit. Okay, this would get shortened as well, but we'd also see the line along the window ledge there, along the edge of the window frame. How's that look without the plans cluttering everything? That looks believable now. So the window is recessed from the wall, so there is a bit of a kind of a lintel situation above there. Okay, we can chop that bit out as well. It's starting to shape up, and it does very quickly. You just keep plugging away and the plan will start, the axonometric will start coming together. So we did the screen on that side, let's do the screen on this side. Okay, so line along here. Okay, we want to go around this, line down here. Okay, then it starts to get a bit trickier to see what's happening, so we'll go in and up to here, and there will be a line down back to this. Okay, there'll also be a line across here and then back to there. Okay, this will be shortened. The end of this wall will hide the end of this line, so we take that back. Okay, using the grips, I'm going to bring this up, and lastly bring this up. Switch plans off temporarily. That looks good. Okay, this wouldn't be visible though, would it? So we trim that out. And we're starting to go. Okay, let's put more. The main doorway now. So a line from there to this corner, back down to here. Do this to give the thickness of the wall, and then you can reduce the length of that. So that's our opening, but we've got a little bit in here to chop away. I think I'll do that without switching the plans off. Let's just do that. Okay, we've got a window opening here that's partially visible, but we could use some of this. So copy 1, 2, 3, 4, enter from here to here. So it's not quite the same. We need to move this forwards by the thickness of the door of the window frame. So we'll move from there to there. Okay, extend it, EX, click, extend this, extend it again. Okay, we're missing one line here, and this one would be shortened. Okay, so another line from intersection to perpendicular or intersection. Let's keep going. We've got another door opening here, a bit narrower than the main door, but we can still use this door material. So copy 1, 2, 3, 4, enter from intersection to perpendicular or intersection. Okay, we need a line on this side, probably easier just to draw one. So we come up to there and then shorten this one. Okay, this would be chopped out. I think I'll tidy that up once we get rid of the plans. Okay, a wee bit difficult to see what's going on here, but we do have a window. Okay, so we can use some of this to help us with the window. So let's copy 1, 2, 3, enter from this intersection. Okay, got to be a bit more accurate here. I need to go to this intersection. Okay, so that's got the depth of the wall. Okay, but the window doesn't go right to the ground like these big ones do. Okay, so if this was a kitchen in here and the window head height was at 2.1 meters, the window sill is going to be round about 1100. So if we copy this line down 1000, copy, pick that line, enter, base point out of harm's way, put ortho on, set my direction, and I'm going down 1000. Enter to stop. Okay, we would have a line running up here, so we could just copy this, copy that to there. Oh, that went wrong. Let's do that again. We picked up a wrong place there. We'll go from here to there. Okay, and we copy this from there to there. Let's move. Let's copy, please. Okay, so a little bit of tidying up to do. We'll trim off the ends of these. Trim there. We would have a vertical line coming down from here. So let's put that in. So a line down. And a bit of tidying up to do there. We'll trim this bit off, trim this bit off. So trim there and there. Okay, and these need shortened quite far back up. Okay, so it all looks a bit chaotic. I know this will be a bit tricky on your first time you draw it, but if we turn off the layers, the plans now, we've got a little junction to tidy up there, and we've got a bit to trim out here. Excellent. So that's our main inch, our axis, and we just keep adding the detail. So what I'll do is add. We'll do the windows, sorry, the trees, and then what I'll do is I'll pause the video, complete the the shape and then let you see what it looks like at the end. So we'll do the trees next. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is trace over this circle, okay, and then draw a line from the center of that circle to the center of this one, and that'll just be a very thin tree trunk. Okay, so circle, I want to use the center object snap, so I'm tapping my tab key to get the center, and I'll use perpendicular to set the radius, and a line from the center of that to the center of this. And we've got a bit of trimming off to do, because the tree would hide the trunk. So we trim down to there. So that and that is our little tree model. Okay, so we can copy those two items, enter, from the end point of that to the center of this tree, of this circle, the center of this one, and the center of this one. Right. Have a look now when the plans get switched off. They look like they're 3D. Okay, the circle looks like a sphere whenever you're in Axonometric. So we trim now, just to add the depth to it. We trim these bits off, and it looks like we've got trees in the courtyard. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pause the video and I will complete these bits to the same level as I had when we started the video and let you see the finished article. Okay, I'm scanning this, looking for any obvious mistakes. I've tidied up most of them. Here's a little bit that needs tidied up. So you have to just kind of take your time and check it over. There should be a bit of line there. Do you see that should continue? So let's extend that, EX. If we extend it, and then we can trim away the bit in between. So those are the kind of things you're looking for, just those little bits that are a bit more tricky to spot. So I think it's looking okay. Okay, so that's our very simple axonometric. I'm not gone into too much detail there. I'm not put in the door frames, and I haven't drawn in the partitions either. So if you just compare that to this version here, you know, there's a fair bit more detail with the smaller doorways, all the partitions, a bit more detail in the landscape, but that's just more time. It's exactly the same amount of work, just a bit more time. Okay, so I hope that's been useful. Take care.